Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. So as some of you may know, Canada has some of the most severe COVID restrictions in the world. So as the US is opening up down south, us here in Montreal still cannot do things like go out to eat at restaurants, and we have to be inside before 9:30. Otherwise you get massive fines. There's still a curfew here. So I'm here today in downtown Montreal to talk to people about what life has been like for them over the past year, how COVID has impacted their lives and their businesses. So you guys can get a sense as to what's going on up north. Canada's attempt at curbing the spread of COVID-19 includes restrictions on social life, restaurant closures with takeout only, and travel restrictions, including the continued closure of the US-Canadian border. As the Quebec government website explains, Montreal remains in the red zone, meaning that curfews are in place with police handing out hefty fines for violators. Indoor and outdoor gatherings are also generally banned. You'll now find signs on apartment buildings like this, prohibiting visitors.
I can't even remember the last time I was free, to be honest.
When was the last time you were out past 9:30 at night?
Christmas?
What's the hardest thing, if you could pick one thing that would be the most challenging?
Not going out with my friends, like going on a restaurant or like just eat, having fun.
Restaurants and cafes are only open for takeout. The ban on indoor dining, in effect since September of last year, impacts not only potential customers, but the businesses themselves. Have you guys been losing business?
Yeah, of course. Because like right now, it's like there will be only 3 people inside, everything. That's why.
Only 3 people are allowed inside?
Yeah, and people they don't like to wait outside.
You guys are one of the few locations that's open in Montreal, right? How many locations have closed down?
I think 3 closed down. They closed 300 in Canada.
While retail stores are open, capacity limits hinder sales due to long queues.
Client limitation is very, very hard and people don't want to wait outside.
So would you say that's one of the hardest things about the new regulations is the client limitation?
Yes, totally.
Those that want to leave Canada will find restrictions that have become more sophisticated over time. While the US-Canadian border has been closed for over 14 months, if you're a resident of both countries, you can travel for essential purposes. But get ready to quarantine for 14 days upon entry, even if you're vaccinated. At the end of last year, when I returned to Canada from the US by car, I had to report my symptoms or lack thereof to government officials. Now, both airline passengers and drivers must take COVID tests upon entry and on day 8 of their federally mandated quarantine. If you arrive to Canada by air, you also have to pay the government $2,000 to isolate at a federally designated quarantine facility, after which you can then go home to your own place to isolate for the remaining part of your 14-day quarantine. And you should expect visits and phone calls from government officials enforcing compliance with these regulations.
This number is being used by the Government of Canada as part of an outreach program to ensure Canadians returning to Canada are complying with the 14-day quarantine guidelines.
These regulations fall under the new Quarantine Act, which permits officers to dole out hefty fines for violators, with the maximum fine being $1 million. Seems like a lot of money is involved here, and you can expect to pay to leave Canada as well. One passenger shares her recent story departing Trudeau International Airport here in Montreal.
Coming to the airport, trying to get on the plane was a huge ordeal. I came with a negative PCR test done in a public clinic in Montreal, and they refused it, saying that it wasn't accurate as a PCR test, even though it definitely was. I mean, the method was PCR. It even said it had the scientific term for PCR on the sheet, and they said it wasn't PCR. Then they directed me towards an airport laboratory where I had to pay $150 for a test where they didn't even stick the little testing stick up your nose. For anybody trying to travel, it's scandalous, it's stealing, and just know it before you go.
Given the intense COVID restrictions, you would expect the COVID mortality rate to be soaring here in Canada, right? So I looked into the numbers, and yesterday the total deaths throughout Canada were 39. In the province of Quebec, 1 person died. And while tragic, people are beginning to question the severity of the COVID restrictions given the currently low mortality rate. After a year of harsh measures, people are frustrated.
Life is not normal anymore. We take it for granted a little bit, so now it's really difficult, I think.
So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Are the restrictions justified? Are they too harsh? What do you guys think about what's going on here in Canada? Leave me comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And on that note, thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care, everybody.